And welcome back. Earlier in the program, we spoke about impeachment with former federal prosecutor Mimi Rocah. She's a woman who is no stranger to public service, and now she's running for Westchester County District Attorney. Mimi will take on incumbent Anthony Scarpino in the Democratic primary next year. Mimi, a good friend to the program, she's also a legal commentator on MSNBC, also volunteering at gun control groups Moms Demand Action, and also My Sister's Place, a group that helps victims of domestic violence. You see how ugly politics can be. You're choosing to get into the belly of the beast here, not in Washington, thankfully for you, but to be a district attorney. And not just because we've known each other here for a little while. I think you would do a phenomenal job. We'll talk about your background in it, but why? Why would you want to get into, you've done public service for most of your adult life, but why would you want to hold elective office given the toxicity that's out there?
Look, I am not just saying this because Dan Goldman is my friend and because he was on TV today. What he is doing is one of the inspirations to me. You know, he could have gone along with his comfortable existence as a commentator on MSNBC, which he loved, which I love doing as well. But he saw an opportunity to be part of something bigger and to serve again. And you know, I think that that is incumbent upon all of us right now. There are many different ways to do that, big and small. I have done it both as being a nonpartisan, non-political prosecutor for 16 and a half years. Then I did it by speaking out against the president for 2 years and his lawless attorney general, which is a whole other topic we should talk about because it's relevant. And now I want to do it by running for office. I think in particular, women need to get off the sidelines and run more. Everybody's talking about that. I was talking a lot about it, and then I thought, well, why am I not doing it? Is it because it's something new and different that I'm afraid of? Yeah, maybe. That's part of it. But it's not just the running for the sake of it. It's because women in power will be the ones helping to decide how those levers of power are used. And that is different from 24%. Only 24% of the prosecutors, state prosecutors around the country, are women.
You've also talked, and we've done a lot in this program, about the opioid crisis that has expanded to every corner of this country, not sparing Westchester as well. What can the DA's office do, both proactively and then obviously reactively, to a problem that's not going away?
So again, when I was chief of the White Plains Division, I worked with the Westchester District Attorney's office together on an opioid response. And part of it was convincing law enforcement and other first responders to not treat opioid overdoses as an accident, right? They are a tragic accident, but they're also a crime. And from the minute someone responds to a death from opioids, you need to treat that like a crime scene. You need to convince horribly heartbroken parents that law enforcement needs to look at their child's phone, which is a really hard thing to do. But you know what? That's how we're going to track back to the dealer who sold these drugs. And not all drug dealing is created equal. The cases that I focused on as a prosecutor, and I would focus on again as a prosecutor, are the cases of people selling drugs where they know, or have reason that they should know that their drugs are killing people, right? I did cases where people were getting word back that their drugs were causing people to get sick. Well, you know what? Then you stop selling that drug. You got to sell a drug? Okay, sell something else, but don't sell that one. And yet they go ahead and do it because it's popular, because it gives a good high, but then it kills someone. And so we need to focus on stopping those. That's a small number of dealers, but we need to focus on that. We need to focus on the drug companies that are perpetuating this. And we really, really need to focus on prevention, education, and information at a young age, an appropriate age, but a young age, and to parents. Same with the online danger. A lot of that is about education.
You would be a district attorney with, well, depending on what happens in the coming election, potentially with an attorney general today who called out his own inspector general that he appointed because the report didn't come back and indicted his own FBI harshly enough. It's surreal. Again, Mimi, we are in uncharted times, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Look, the Bill Barr as Attorney General is, to me personally, very upsetting, actually. I mean, I grew up in a Department of Justice under Republicans and administrations. You know, I liked some of the ways that the Department of Justice was run better than others under different ones, but overall, I thought that people were trying to do justice and serve the Department of Justice, the people who work there, and the public. This Attorney General only is serving one person, Donald Trump. He acts like his defense lawyer. He doesn't follow facts to come to conclusions. He has a conclusion, and he's trying to find the facts to fit into it. And when the independent inspector general, also a Southern District alumni, Michael Horowitz, when he now has concluded, you know what, the Russia investigation, were there mistakes? Yes, but it was not a spying mission. It was not politically tainted. It doesn't fit Bill Barr's narrative, so he's now going to come out and criticize it. That is not his job, and it is outrageous. And this is not some abstract thing happening in Washington in the halls of the Department of Justice. This is affecting us here in Westchester, everywhere, right? You had Bill Barr the other day say in a speech, one of the many outrageous speeches he's given, that people in communities, if they don't give the due respect or if they're too critical of law enforcement, they're not going to get protection from law enforcement. I mean, look, I grew up with law enforcement. I consider myself law enforcement. I have great respect for law enforcement. My friends are law enforcement. But the law enforcement I know would not say that. They would not act that way. And in fact, if I were district attorney, if I were in any leading law enforcement position right now, I would have issued a statement immediately saying, nope, no, Mr. Attorney General, not in my community. In my community, we serve everyone, and people have a right. They have a First Amendment right. They have a right as a citizen to speak up and criticize the police when criticism is due. No one claims to be perfect, and we should hear those criticisms, and we should take them and be better. But that is not what Bill Barr said, and it is shameful and it's dangerous.
And on a side note, on a personal note, if you're district attorney and the electricity does not come back quickly, I know Con Ed will be hearing from the DA. Mimi.
Little story there.
Yes, absolutely. I wish you the best of luck. Good luck with the campaign.
Thanks, Richard.
All right, everyone, we'll be right back to wrap things up.